taking over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. All right, we got Coach Young to talk a double with us on Rack. We got college and pro to talk about everything else. I did want to hit a couple of things with you first, though. First of all, I don't know if you caught any of the show earlier. I am just not having this. All these chicks get to play at home stuff. Like what? And Carver High's right. No one would fill the arenas. They wouldn't be able to sell tickets, and it's just a bad look for women's basketball. You know what? I don't care how many people are in the arena. How absolutely awful are these games? Like NC State's game today, what, they win by 80? And then the second game, they won by like 30. Texas, they're playing on their home floor, and they still didn't sell out the arena. I don't care about your crowd sizes. Those aren't fair games. Why aren't they playing them on a neutral court? I think it's awful. It's not realistic. How is that they get all these first and second round games on their home floor, and 3 teams won on the road, and the rest of them got slaughtered? And secondly, the high school coach that yanked the girl's ponytail. And then did you see him pull her head? And then her teammate got in the old man's face. They fired that high school legendary coach today after his incident over the weekend in that state championship when he lost his mind and pulled a Woody Hayes. Did you see that?
Yeah, a lot worse than you can't do Woody Hayes stuff in 2025, that's for sure. Listen, back to the women's game. Yeah, I see your point, but I see the point of my good friends Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez at TCU, who have completely flipped that program around. They had over 8,000 people. I think they may have the highest attendance of any team in the round of 32. So I get your point. My bigger problem is that they play only 2 sites for the regional final. They do 1 and 2. If you remember last year, that was in Albany. And the way they seed this tournament is absolutely wild. You mean to tell me that you, on purpose, you didn't do it on purpose last year, remember? It was Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, regional final in Albany. Now this year, Spokane, Washington, makes sense about this one. Juju Watkins, Paige Beckers, regional final. So they do some interesting thing on the women's tournament too, not just the men's tournament. As for the other guy, I mean, good riddance. I mean, at the end of the day, you pull a girl's hair, and shout out to the girl who stuck up for her teammate. Like, basically got in the guy's way. Guy was an upstate New York coach, I think in the Adirondack area. Get rid of his ass for pulling a girl's hair. That's not around.
Wasn't he? He was an old man, but he was a legendary coach. Like
on the boys' side. Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame of New York State. He was only in his second year coaching the girls' team, and it kind of goes back to like I heard you before, like talking in the break about like Bob Hurley. Like I've coached against Bob Hurley. Right. I've coached against Dan Hurley. Those guys are nuts. One of the reasons why I don't coach today is I can't be the crazy lunatic F-bombs, yelling at referees, slamming clipboards. That stuff don't fly anymore, Ferrall, especially with social media, because all you take, like Hurley walking up the floor, all you need is someone with a cell phone to catch everything live.
Well, how about, again, this guy, I know several that played for Bob, and he won 28 titles at St. Anthony's, and this guy told me that it was the most awful thing you could ever imagine, like playing for him. He said it was just awful. It was just their worst nightmare, and it messes you up in life, having this guy screaming at you all day. And then, secondly, the reporter who got that sound of Hurley cussing and dropping F-bombs and saying the refs, F'd him, and then to have the media director for UConn threaten his career and his livelihood, and I'm going to ruin your life and destroy your career. I think what should happen is the exact opposite. I think this kid Ellis that got the sound, I think he should do exactly that to the media director of UConn. I think he should have his career and life destroyed for threatening his life. And in fact,
Well,
you know what I would have done? I would have beat his ass right there on the spot, and they would have yanked me out of there in a cop car.
Well, first things first, he hasn't backed off. He didn't take it down. Neither should he. Listen, Hurleys are Hurleys, man. Like, I coached against Bob. I coached against Bob right before he won his 1,000th win. And I can tell you, I was intimidated by him. But anybody I've known him, as much as he yells and screams, just like Dan, their players love him. They understand at the end of the day that this guy will do a lot for them. He gets them prepared for life. And let me tell you something. If you can deal playing for Bob Hurley, you can play for anybody. If you can be screamed at, cursed at, yelled at by Dan Hurley, he hasn't done some of the things that other coaches I know in this area that's done far worse than Dan Hurley has. I'm not going to say names. You know where I'm going. But to me, Dan's got to control his emotions. And I have to give him props, though, Ferrall, because he made that game a street fight. He basically said to Florida, like, you're not punking us. We're going to make you defend half court. We're going to make you fight. And if Liam McNeely holds that rebound, doesn't get it poked out down one, they may have stole that game.
Oh, no, that rebound. And then the guy drives and gets the foul and makes both free throws. The game was never the same after that missed free throw rebound loss. Rebounding is everything. It really is. You got to get the rebound. You can't. The guy goes up and misses, and you let that ball get away, and they get another. Is there anything worse than that play or giving teams second and third chances to score?
No, it's the worst thing. It's completely deflating, especially you play sound defense and you have the rebound and you don't get it, or you give it off at the rebound. And the most devastating shot in college basketball and the NBA, I'm going against. Offensive rebound, kick out, made three. Because at that point, everybody's crashing the boards. Guys get lost offensively by the defense, and you get a rebound. You know how many times you've seen it. Missed shot, offensive rebound, kick it out, knock down three. You think you got the ball, and then you're giving up 3 points.
Right. What would
Nothing
you
more
do
deflating as a coach.
if you were Pitino and Lewis was having that kind of day? Would you have sat him down like he did?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would have sat his ass earlier. Listen, the 3 shots that he took in concession in a row, the last shot, Ferrall, was arguably the worst shot in the history of basketball. You have him playing zero defense. You have Zuby Ejiofor trying to shake him like, yo, we need you. And the stare that he gave back said it all. Rick Pitino put him to the bench. And there's another part of the story I don't think people understand, I think happened. Pitino put him to the bench, calmed him down, goes to assistant, probably Steve Masiello, says, yo, when he's ready, you let me know. You know what Masiello said? Don't put him back in. Because when think about this, bro, we're Knicks fans. Remember 94 Game 7? John Starks would still be shooting the ball if he would be allowed to. Get the guy out of the game. It took Pitino too long to get him out, honestly.
He thought he could shoot his way out of it in a tournament game, and you got to shoot your way out of it in the driveway. So it was unbelievable, and I'm not like the way they shot all year from outside came back to haunt them in that loss. They did the same thing. They couldn't knock down any shots, but then their 2 disappeared as well. So obviously, when you can't knock down shots, you're not going to win in the NCAA tournament. I don't care how good your defense is. When we come back, we'll talk to Coach about his Sweet 16 picks and what he thinks going to happen on Thursday and Friday. And we'll get his thoughts on tonight's NBA and what's going on in the NBA through the weekend and into this week and everything that's playing out on that front. We're talking with Coach Young on Coast to Coast. Plenty of rack. And the women are playing all day and all night. I hope the games get better and all these crappy blowouts I've been watching.
two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They are a street ball team. They remind me of an and one team, right?
Yeah.
They are street ball fast, park fast, playing in the hood. They are no joke, McNeese.
Yeah.
They can beat anybody. They won 27 games as well for a reason.
It's a bracket. You trust the team to make a run. Feels good until it doesn't. And that's didn't feel good for all that long with Kansas.
Only on SportsGrid. That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I want to catch this Iowa game with Caitlin. Never mind. They're playing Oklahoma, and no one cares. Anyway, let's go to Thursday and get your thoughts on these games. I know two of them stand out to you.
Yeah, I like Alabama minus the points versus BYU. It's sort of at 4.5. I think it's up to 5.5. I think this team is just going to get on the roll 6.5 in some spots, but I think this is a team that offensively just dynamite. I think they're better defensive than people get it credit for. I think the addition of Kofa Mori allows Grant Nelson, who started the last game, to kind of play the 4 spot. Give me Alabama minus the points, and then Duke minus 8.5 versus Arizona. If Arizona thinks they're going to come out and do that crap they did in the first 10 minutes against Oregon, being down 10, 15 points, Duke will have them down by 20 for real, and game will be over. Cooper Fly looks fantastic. Proctor shot the ball great last round. They got too many weapons. Give me Duke minus the points.
Can Alabama beat Duke in the regional final?
No, I think the only team that could beat Duke, to me, is Houston. Because of Houston's propensity to have the guard play to match up with Duke, but also the toughness and the rebounding and the defense to keep around with them. I think, obviously, Alabama can score. I don't think they get enough stops. Cooper flags the difference. I think Duke will make it to the regional final.
All right, so in the other ones, it's Florida and Maryland. Florida laying 6.5. Texas Tech laying 5.5 to Arkansas.
I do like Florida minus the points. I think the matchup at the bigs with Condon, with Reese, with Queen. By the way, I did a post earlier. I don't care what anybody says. I talked to 2 big-time college officials. That was not a travel. I know it's not in the quote-unquote rule book, but the gather step is something that they don't call no travel. But anyway, too much guard play. Maryland takes questionable shots, and Maryland should not have even been at that spot to begin with because Kevin Wood forgot to tell his kids, number 1, we have a foul to give if Clifford got the ball, and number 2, you're up 2. Don't give up an open 3.
All right, Friday, Ole Miss and Michigan State. Michigan State laying 3, and Auburn's laying 8.5 to Michigan. Obviously, the winners will meet. It could be Michigan State and Michigan. Do you think that'll play out, or do you like Auburn? And then who do you like in the Michigan State game?
I think Auburn wins, but I'm going to give the cover to Michigan. I think when you look at the fact that something got kind of exposed a little bit in that game with Creighton when Creighton was in the game. Team with a quality big. Golden and Danny Wolf will get Janai Broom in that front line a little bit of problems. I do think Michigan covers the spread, but I think Auburn wins. On the other side, I mean, we talk about all these great coaches. Why does no one talk about Chris Beard? I mean, look what Ronnie Taylor got bounced out of there 2 years after he was gone. I like this Ole Miss team a lot. Ferrall, I'm not just taking the points. I think Michigan State's been playing with fire. I think Ole Miss beats them outright.
Whoa, slow down, Coach. UK and Tennessee. Tennessee laying 4.5. Purdue and Houston. Houston laying 8.
Okay, so with the Kentucky-Tennessee game, here we go. Third, you know the rule, Ferrall. Hard to beat a team 3 times, right? Kentucky won the first 2 games. Give me Tennessee minus a point. So they're not going to beat them a third time. They'll cover the 4.5. Here's the problem with this game with Purdue and Houston. Purdue is in the number 1 seed in the Midwest. They could have sent them west. They put them Midwest, so they're playing the 4 seed in Indianapolis, right down the street from Purdue. I still think Purdue does not cover the spread. I just think Houston is on a whole nother level. They will put Lawyer and Smith in absolute jail Friday night.
So, who's your Final Four now? Then obviously Houston.
Right, I think it's Houston. I'm going to go on the record, and I think the 1-2 match will be Houston versus Tennessee. Then I think Auburn is now going to get it done. I think they sneak by Ole Miss. Remember, they played a game in the SEC tournament that was really, really close. Obviously, I have Duke going over Alabama, and then Texas Tech, who was a better money line on the money line than St. John's beforehand. I think Texas Tech is my 4th team in the Final Four.
Whoa, so they're going to beat Calipari's Hogs, and then they're going to beat Florida?
Yes, I think Dan Hurley may have cracked the Da Vinci Code, which is you got to muck the game up. You got to make the game ugly and make it a dogfight. Grant McCaslin, the coach at Texas Tech, doing a hell of a job. I think he finds a way to get to the Final Four.
All right, I think a decent game tonight. Who do you like in the NBA? I like this Minnesota-Indy game at 7 o'clock at the Fieldhouse in Naptown. And then I got to be honest with you, the way the Bulls have been playing with Giddey, Kitty, and White, do they give Denver a game tonight? How come that's only 3? Are they still out, all those star players for Denver? No, I saw Murray play over the weekend.
No, the Murray played over the weekend, but really quick, to go to the first game first, I like Minnesota plus the points. Indy has not covered their last 3 games, so I'm going to go Minnesota plus the 2.5. I'm going to take a chance on the Nuggets minus 3.5 to get the job done tonight. And then the Celtics. The Celtics, this is where, you're like, what, about like 12, 15 games up the regular season? Now you got to start to kind of ramp this up and kind of get yourself going here. Give me the Celtics minus the points versus the Kings.
So my team tonight playing in the championship against a team that we beat twice in the regular season. Very close games. We were down 4. That. We won by 7 the last time we played them. So what you said earlier is that we play them a 3rd time, that we're going down tonight. Look at that cringy face. So we're going down tonight in the championship, going for our 4th straight title. My 2nd straight with this team, we're going down.
Hey, Ferrall, listen, you're one of my best friends. I love you to death, but there's averages. There's levels to this. And just do me a favor, Ferrall. This is the most important thing I'm going to tell you.
Hurt someone?
When you walk off, no. When you walk off the floor after the game, should you lose, just make sure you don't say anything about being screwed and all that stuff, because it's going to get on social media like Dan Hurley, and you're going to get in trouble. We need you here on SportsGrid. I can't have you having Cardano having meetings with you because you're going after officials saying you're getting screwed by officials. And please, I need you here tomorrow.
Do you think I'm going to get any burn in this game, or should I bring a rum and Coke in my water bottle to the game on the bench?
Hey, man, hey, listen, you drink a couple of rum and Cokes, you'll have 3 baskets, just shoot in the middle. You'll be good to go.
Oh, no. I've lost 10 championships. Don't tell me I'm going to lose another one. Oh, the humanity.
You're like LeBron.
I still won 12.
Looking for an edge in betting basketball? Injuries can make or break a game. Get insider knowledge from Dr. David Chow and the team of experts with Sick Picks at Sports Injury Central. We reveal hidden health-based advantages the sports books miss. Our doctors provide insights, and our algorithm tells you who to bet on. Spreads, props, totals, in-game bets, Sick Picks covers it all. Go to SickScore.com and sign up for Sick Picks and use the promo code SportsGrid for a free week today.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Yeah, obviously, Duke just keeps rolling teams that they play. It was more of the same against Baylor.
It was more of the same against Baylor yesterday. 89-66 smash special for Duke in this game. Of course, Cooper Flagg always involved. He had 18, 9, and 6. But how about Tyrese Proctor, who has now had I think he's hit 6 threes in 3 straight games. He had 7 in this win yesterday. Now, look, here's Shire. Now, let me just say this to you. We got to win a few more games here. I know that Duke is the expected winner of this tournament. They're the favorites to win the tournament. Shire, I mean, he's got 4 more wins to go, and he's already, Scotty, very emotional about the players that he's trying to bring to the promised land. He was trying to talk about Proctor after the big game.
I think it's what I'm most proud of, or as proud as anything, with the journey Tyrese and I have been on, because it's harder to go through those journeys now, you know, and
it's brutal. I love you. You wouldn't understand, you people. What do you mean, you people?
You know, Tyrese.
Just give me a minute here to gather myself. It's just, I love him.
What's going to happen if they win? He's going to be very emotional if they win the whole thing. That went on for about 3 minutes, and then he finally got it out. What he wanted to say about Tyrese. So Shire, emotional guy.
What?
We'll see if he's going to be emotional in 4 more wins. If Duke can get to the promised land here in the NCAAs. Alabama beat St. Mary's. Not much resistance there. I thought the Arizona-Oregon game, man, that depended on when you got that number. Because I know it was 4.5 early in the day, and God, I hope you got it then. Because if you had 3.5 and you got it closer to game time, you were probably putting your head through the television, watching the end of that game with the fouls and the back and forth and the missing the free throws on purpose and all the nonsense that was happening there. But Arizona does move on with the 4-point win. Michigan State beat New Mexico 71-63. Another Sweet 16 for Tom Izzo. Also tied Jim Boeheim, Scotty, 4th most NCAA tournament wins ever. Now, Izzo says that's a very nice accomplishment, but I'm looking for something a little bit more than that.
Well, Jim Boeheim's a friend too, and I think he's won a lot of games, man. And He's won a lot more games than I've won. Thank God in the tournament I've been fortunate. But anytime you can accomplish something with your team and your coaches that some of the most respected guys in college basketball have achieved, I guess it's a privilege and an honor. But there's still, I say it on Bobby Knights, and that was awesome. But I just never see any banners hanging for those kinds of things, and I'm a kind of a banner guy. So I until that happens, I'll enjoy it, but I won't do cartwheels over it.
Yeah, and you can always tell how much he screams and yells by his press conferences.
Yeah.
His voice is all beat up from screaming during the game with New Mexico.
There you go. Izzo back to the Sweet 16. Smash City for Chris Beard and Ole Miss, 91-78 over Iowa State. As they continue to move on, they'll play Michigan State, of course, coming up this week. Kentucky beat Illinois as well yesterday. Not much resistance there from the Fighting Illini either. Saturday, Auburn won. Michigan come back. By the way, what a melt by Texas A&M, who I thought, Scotty, had that game with about, 5-6 minutes to go, and then they just completely melted. And Michigan was down 9. Michigan was down 9, and then they were up like 12 in a heartbeat. They went from down 9 to up 12 in like a 4-minute span.
It really is unbelievable to me. They just don't lose. And I don't even think they're that good. They don't lose.
In these tournament spots. I thought the Houston-Gonzaga game at the end was pretty good, too. Gonzaga did get the cover for me. I was hoping they'd get the outright win. Unfortunately, we weren't able to.
I pushed.
Ooh, the push. And the Tennessee-UCLA game was awful. UCLA couldn't score on Tennessee's defense late on Saturday night.
I love watching Cronin snapping on the sideline. He was a lunatic. I love that guy. He's crazy. He's all about 4 foot tall, too. He's so funny.
You already mentioned that the Purdue-McNeese game was awful. No question, no arguments from me on that one. I'll finish when we come back quickly by giving you Patino on R.J. Lewis after the game, and then we'll get into I'll give you the spreads for all these games on Thursday and Friday night. A lot of action this week, sweet.
Perfect. I'm not surprised he sat him down. Believe me, the guy was playing horrible.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They are a street ball team. They remind me of an N1 team, right?
Yeah.
They are street ball fast, park fast, playing in the hood. They are no joke, McNeese.
Yeah.
They can beat anybody. They won 27 games as well for a reason.
It's a bracket. You trust the team to make a run. Feels good until it doesn't. And that's didn't feel good for all that long. Kansas.
Only on SportsGrid. That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Carver High. The Hogs got it done against the Johnnies.
They did. 75-66. And St. John's really beat them up on the glass, especially on the offensive glass. But it didn't matter because St. John's, quite frankly, they couldn't shoot. They were 21 for 75 from the floor. That's a cool 28%. They were 2 for 22 from 3. That is not good. Of course, R.J. Lewis was 3 for 17 from the floor, 0 for 3 from downtown. He didn't play the last 4.5 minutes of the game. Here's Rick Pitino being asked about that.
Roger Rubin from Newsday. Rick,
Hi, Roger.
You had RJ on the bench, for a pretty long stretch at the end. Was that just because he just wasn't making them, or was there something more to it?
Played 30 minutes. It's a long time.
So he was tired?
No, played 30 minutes, and I went with other people. You already know the answers, Roger. You're asking leading questions. You already know it. So don't ask leading questions. You already know why he didn't play. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, let's just stop with all the nonsense. The kid was shooting bricks, and he was trying to shoot his way out of it. Mike just gave you the numbers. They shot 28% in the game. You can't win a biddy ball game shooting 28%. You can't win any game shooting under 30%. They shot well under 30% from 3, and they shot under 30% for the game. You just can't win a basketball game shooting like that at any level. That's all there is to it. Their season ended because of their shooting problems. They never shot threes the entire season with any efficiency whatsoever. And then they won on defense and twos and free throws. And they were, a mid-range team. And that deserted them as well. So that's why he was at his son's game last night watching him lose too. So the whole family's lost. And, who are you going to blame?
Look, when you get to shoot 75 times, you got nobody to blame but yourself. I mean, that was the most on Saturday of any team. And they only scored 66 points. So they just could not put the ball in the bucket. That's how it comes down. Texas Tech beat Drake cover. And I love BYU's win over Wisconsin. That was a fun game down to the end, 91-89. And BYU, I'm a year late for them. Last year, of course, I had them going really far, and they screwed me in the first round. This year, I backed off of them, and they're going to the Sweet 16. And I think they're the kind of team, and we know Alabama wants to play fast, and we're going to get to that game in a moment, Scotty, but that's like the kind of game where, same thing with BYU, like against Wisconsin, if they're making those threes, that's going to be a problem for Alabama. I know they score tons of points too, but that could be a wild game when those two get together.
Without a doubt. I think it's going to be a crazy game, and they have a shot to beat them. The problem is, I think Alabama has, been there, done that. They've been in these games. They were in the Final Four. They mean business. The same team, same coach. They're back. This is no different than UConn winning back-to-back titles. Here's another team that's going to deep runs in the NCAA tournament. Their experience has got to mean something for them, and BYU doesn't have that. I know they're a veteran team that shoots well from outside. I don't care. And I bet on BYU over Wisconsin, so I like BYU. I want them to win, but I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either, and I'm going to make Luke work here for a second because I'm actually going to have him bring the BYU-Alabama game up first for you for Thursday and Friday games because that actually is the first game on Thursday night, 7:09 East tip. That will be in Newark at the Rock. First game in the East region. Alabama -5.5. And yes, that's right. I'm up to 175.5. A monstrous total.
I mean, that's crazy. It is what it is. But as you know, you do a lot more of that than I do.
I do.
I don't do... I just don't do the totals in these games. I bet spreads, and that's just it. So, I really don't do them in the NBA either. If you ever see me doing any of the stuff that I do, whether it's Ferrall on a bench or whether it's this show, I'm always talking about spreads. That's what I'm into. Like some people, like you're into totals, and everybody, I have full respect for that. Have at it. I'm not one to think I can predict the scores of games. I never, was comfortable with that ever, at all. I'm trying to beat the number in a spread. That's where I go. So that's what I do. So I can't live up to all that. I can't. Literally, if I watched the game and had to get like some point total because that's what I was betting on, I think I'd already be dead. I mean, I'd have another heart attack. That'd be over. I'd lose it. I can barely take it watching the games with the spreads. How the F am I going to do that? And what? I see all these people, I'm going to parlay the total with the spread. I'll be dead by halftime. I'll have a stroke. I almost snapped on this show today talking about kids getting paid. It doesn't take much to put me over the edge, Carver High. You got to keep me away from these totals.
Certainly do. The other early game in San Francisco will be the West region, Florida and Maryland. They will start things off. That's 7:39 East on Thursday night. Florida minus 6.5, 155.5 the total.
I think Florida, and I think they had their scare, and then I think they'll win that game, and then they'll beat the Arkansas Texas Tech winner. And I still think, look, I think Calipari did a great job against St. John's. Texas Tech will not shoot 28% from the floor. I guarantee you that. I guarantee it.
No. Second game in East at Newark will be the Duke-Arizona game after BYU. Duke minus 8.5 for that one.
I mean, they win every game by 18, 20 points. So, the fact that they're not winning by 30 and 35 is stunning to me. Now it's down to 18 to 20, 22. They're just better than everybody. They're going to the Final Four, and so's Florida.
And that last game is the Arkansas-Texas Tech game, which will start after the Florida one out in San Francisco at the Chase. Tech minus 5.5 here early in the week.
I think Texas Tech will beat Arkansas. I do. I think they're a better team, and I think they've been better all year. And I think Arkansas played really well to get to this point and get into the tournament and earn the late season push. SEC tournament did well. And then they got, in my opinion, they had the greatest break of all. And that was St. John's couldn't hit the broadside of a barn in a game. I mean, it's not hard to beat a team that shoots 28% and shoots 75 shots and hits 20 of them. I mean, they sucked. I mean, it was the worst shooting I think I've ever seen in my life. I can't even believe that the game was even close. Arkansas should have won by 30 with a team shooting that badly. Texas Tech will not shoot that badly. They're in trouble with that team.
They are in trouble with that team. All right, Friday night, let me give you one, and then I'll finish it quickly when we come back. They will start the first game 7:09 East Friday in Atlanta at State Farm, South Region. Ole Miss at Michigan State, minus 2.5 for Sparty.
I think Ole Miss is a really good team. The difference for me is the physicality and size and defense and rebounding of Michigan State. It doesn't matter what kind of game you want to play with them. They win. They just, whatever you want to play up and down, you want to play physical, you want to play on the glass, you want to drive, you want to dunk, you want to shoot threes, they'll beat you 6 ways till Sunday. I like Michigan State.
I will give you the other three quickly when we come back, and then we will start to I got some coaches getting hired as well before we get to the NBA. So we have all of that working.
Everybody's getting theirs. The season's not even over, not even close to being over, but everybody's getting theirs. Everybody's transferring and getting their money.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They are a street ball team. They remind me of an N1 team, right?
Yeah.
They are street ball fast, park fast, playing in the hood. They are no joke, McNeese.
Yeah.
They can beat anybody. They won 27 games as well for a reason.
It's a bracket. You trust the team to make a run. Feels good until it doesn't. And that's didn't feel good for all that long. Kansas.
Only on SportsGrid. That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, we're talking about the regionals on Friday now.
Yeah, the first game on Friday night in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil, which has just a star-studded region as well, will be Kentucky and Tennessee. All SEC matchup there. That's a 7:39 p.m. East first tip on Friday night. Now, this is the third time they're playing this year. Kentucky beat Tennessee both of the first two meetings. They're getting 4.5 here in Indianapolis against the Vols.
Yeah, I like Tennessee, but I think Kentucky can cover 4.5. I think they played them a third time here. It's going to be real tight. I'm talking overtime. I'm talking a 1-point game, 2-point game. It's too many points in my estimation. They've already lost to them twice. Kentucky has their number. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a close game. It's going to take a lot for Tennessee to beat them. I'm not sure I buy all this stuff about you can't beat a team 3 times. It's impossible to do and all this other stuff. Yeah, whatever. I think Tennessee can win that game by a bucket. And I think the Friday night games, you're talking about some big numbers for spreads. So these next 2 games, I think, are very dangerous.
They certainly are, the late night games. Second game in the South in Atlanta at State Farm will be number 1 Auburn in the South against Michigan. 8.5. Very big number for Michigan.
I think Michigan's luck runs out here and Auburn beats them, but I bet they don't cover. I think that'll be a game as well. Michigan shows up for every tournament game on the face of the earth, whether it's the Big Ten, whether it's the NCAA tournament, whether it's Maui. It don't matter. They're always in these games. I think they'll be in this game. I think Auburn has shown that they can be beaten. We saw them lose 3 or 4. Now they're winning, and they look good, and they look invincible again until they run into Michigan. Michigan will give them a game.
And the last game Friday night in Indy after the Tennessee-Kentucky game is Purdue and Houston. -7.5 for the Cougs, who are the 1 seed.
Yeah, I've seen it at 7.5, 8. I think you can get Purdue at 8. I like the spread here as well. I think Houston is another team that is predicated on defense. I think their defense is a very physical, very aggressive, very good. I think they'll win the game, but they are like St. John's in that they can have, and Tennessee, they can have bad shooting nights where they don't shoot the rock well. And like they got by the other day by 4, 5. I think it landed at 5. They won that game by 5. Now they're going to play a Purdue team that is tougher than people think. They just think that, I think Zach Edey's gone. They don't matter. I mean, they had sex with McNeese. And you know what McNeese was doing? Will Wade was screaming at the refs. It wasn't the refs' fault. Purdue just beat their ass. And so I think Purdue's going to be in that game as well and cover the number. I don't think they're going to win. I think it's going to be really close. I think Houston will, same thing, 4 or 5 points at best. And then, so that for me, it's going to be Houston. I think they'll beat Tennessee. And then I still want to believe Michigan State can do it, but I don't think they will. I think it'll be Auburn and Houston, Duke, and Florida.
4 1s? It will be chalk, just like this past weekend.
I didn't even look at it that way. I just looked at it as those are the teams that are going to win.
Look, remember
I didn't
this.
even think of it as number ones.
The ones you could, especially when you get to this weekend where there's 16 teams left, you could take those dopey numbers that they put next to these teams, and you could throw them out the window.
Means nothing to me.
To be quite honest with you, I think almost anyone could beat anyone at this point. Now, there's a couple exceptions. I think there's a few teams that can't beat Duke. I think there's, some of these higher, heavy teams. But anyone can go down here. Houston's been a 1 the last 2 years and lost in this round. As a 1 seed, they've lost in the Sweet 16 the last 2 years. So, they can get cold shooting too, just like St. John's did on Saturday afternoon. This is a dangerous round here, especially when you're a heavy. You're close to the Final Four, but you're not quite there yet. Still got a couple hurdles to jump. Duke is the favorite, by the way, with 16 teams left to win the whole thing. There it is. Duke, Florida, Auburn, Houston. 4 1s, 4 favorites, and then
the only one
Tennessee, Alabama.
The only one that I think legitimately that I have a problem with is that I think that Michigan State, they've done it before as a number 2 and won the national championship. I think that they are tough enough. The problem I have with them is that I think they're another team that doesn't shoot the ball well. But what they're good at is rebounding. So they miss a lot of shots and get the rebound and get a second chance and put it in. And usually they put it in by attacking the rim. They're not an outside shooting team at all. They shoot bricks. But they get rebounds and then they drive and get and ones and get to the line and they make free throws and they get layups and dunks. They're a very, physical team that wants to get to the 10 and the iron, and they crash the glass. To me, their outside game is relative ass.
There you go. A couple coaching news here. Texas officially chopped Rodney Terry yesterday.
I told you that last week. He was getting whacked.
Yes, but who they're hiring is kind of surprising to me. So Sean Miller, who, of course, this was his second tour of duty at Xavier, jumps off from Xavier, now goes to Texas. So Xavier to Arizona, back to Xavier,
who wouldn't?
And now to Texas. Look, big money. Big money. A lot big difference in money in NIL in Texas than Xavier.
And he'll win. Sure. He will win at Texas, and Rodney Terry couldn't win at Texas.
Minnesota today hired Colorado State coach Nico Medved. So Nico went to bed last night after losing on a buzzer beater. And he's a Minnesota guy. Remember that, too. The father coached at Minnesota as an assistant, all sorts of Minnesota roots. So Nico Medved going home. He's a very good coach, Scotty. That's a good hire from Minnesota. Iowa hired the Drake coach Ben McCollum. So you have the last 3 Drake coaches now all in the Big Ten. Nico Medved, DeVries for Indiana, and this McCollum to Iowa. The last 3 Drake coaches now all in the big show. And did you watch the Bobby Knight documentary yet? The Netflix thing. Did you watch it yet?
No, but I may not be able to get through that. I may have a problem with that.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what?
circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They are a street ball team. They remind me of an N1 team, right?
Yeah.
They are street ball fast, park fast, playing in the hood. They are no joke, McNeese.
Yeah.
They can beat anybody. They won 27 games as well for a reason.
It's a bracket. You trust the team to make a run. Feels good until it doesn't. And that's didn't feel good for all that long. Kansas.
Only on SportsGrid. That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's In-Game Live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, so I just wanted to get this in, Carver High, because it's crucial. You got to get the app, the SportsGrid app on iOS and Android. It's free. You're going to love it. You can watch the network, listen to the network. It's got everything on there. I mean, it is fantastic. Get the app today, iOS or Android in the Play Store. Secondly, did you know we're streaming on X every day, all day, 7 days a week? We're on X. Go to SportsGrid-Live, and you can watch us streaming on X. Get the Ferrall Coast to Coast and Ferrall on a Bench podcast on Apple and iTunes. You're good to go with that. The lineup for tonight on SportsGrid TV and SportsGrid Radio. On TV, Game Time Decisions after this show at 6 with the Kevin Walsh. And then at 8 to 10, it's In-Game Live with Scott Wetzel and Dave Sharapan. Of course, at 10, it's Sports Rage with Morency and his boy, the Prime Minister, Cam Stewart, live in Toronto. And then on SportsGrid Radio, at 8 o'clock Eastern, it's Carver and Lisi, all tonight on SportsGrid TV and SportsGrid Radio. All right, Mike, back to you. What do we got?
Let's get to the NBA now, of course, as we had a lot of stuff go on over the weekend. We got a lot of games tonight, which we'll get to in the final hour. A few things from last night first. Thunder beat the Clippers 103-101. Really was the best game on Sunday. Clippers had a chance in the final moments, but they were not able to get anything done here. Couple cracks for them on FanDuel Sportsnet.
30 seconds to play. Clippers down by 1. Powell for the lead. Back tap to Leonard. Well, 12 seconds remain. Kawhi. Thunder have it.
That was the worst call. That was the worst call of a game I've ever heard in my life. I have no idea what happened right there. My man was caught up in the game so bad he forgot to call the game. I mean, it was that bad.
Dude. You gotta talk. Say something.
He didn't tell us anything that was happening in that end of the game. Like, well, he was so caught up in it, he forgot he was the play-by-play guy. Okay, so
he's one of those.
Remember what my guy Mike Lang always taught me about calling a game in the NHL? He said, never miss a goal.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't take your eye off the puck and be doing something else. Don't miss a goal ever. Don't screw that up. And I was like, okay, so I never missed one ever in 82 games. That guy just
Can't
called
have
that
that.
game. He didn't call the game. And let me tell you
He
why the
must be one
Clippers
of
are so
those-
good.
Yeah, it's why.
It is amazing to me the way Harden and Kawhi Leonard are playing. I hate to say it because Kawhi Leonard is, from that soft, pillowy team of guys that never play. But he's been playing the last couple months a lot of games, and he's just lighting it up every night. And Harden does the same thing. Harden and Kawhi Leonard are the reason that team's good. People say Norm Powell and all that. It's Kawhi Leonard.
No doubt. That announcer, he lets the picture do the talking. He's one of those guys. He lets the picture do the talking. On
Whatever.
The screen. Doesn't want to overload it. But man, you got to give a little bit more than that. Give a little bit more than that.
I have no idea what just happened.
Pistons beat the Pelicans by 6 last night. Cavs smashed the Jazz. Hawks beat the Hornets. Spurs beat the Raptors. The Celtics out on their West Coast trip, a 13-point victory in Portland. And the Nuggets beat the Rockets 116-111. I'm sure you saw Saturday night that LeBron was back for the Lakers.
Yeah, I watched.
Too bad that
they only lost by 50.
They got completely smashed in the game, but he was back. Bazulius had his first 30-point game. They lost by 31. Kobe White had 36. Josh Giddey had 15, 17, and 10 with 8 steals. I mean, just completely smashed the Lakers.
Zealous had like the game of his life, 30-point a game in their route, and then Kobe had 36. Kobe White and Giddey Kitty had a triple-double. That was unbelievable. I keep telling you that team is playing lights-out basketball right now. They're winning. They're playing good ball every night because of those 3 dudes.
Every night. In the last hour, I'll let you know where they are in the standings now with how they've done. And we have all of tonight's games. We'll get to those after I talked to Smiley about Victor Hovland winning the Valor.
How about your boy Victor getting involved?
From out of nowhere to a win.
I love it.
Here's a tip. Some machines and online games have higher average payouts than others. Want to try to maximize your odds? Well, do some research online to find games which have the highest RTP or return to player percentage. So now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.